Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. All really does help out the channel. Now I've got a couple of stories for you today. One's an original story that we haven't covered before on this channel, and the second one is an update on the update. So as always, we're going to cover the original story first, which you may have seen in a previous video, and then we're going to cover the new update as well. So if you have heard the original, don't want to hear it again, please feel free to use the timestamps down in the description along the timeline. That's what they're there for. And let's get into today's first story. Much love, guys. This story comes from Random Abuse Throw, who says, my 29 male, fiance 28 female of 4 years randomly claimed I abused her and called the police. This came completely out of the blue. I honestly don't know what happened. A couple of days ago, my girlfriend who I lived with left our apartment while I was at work, claimed to her family and mutual friends that I'd been physically abusing her and blocked me on everything. I have no idea what's going on. There weren't any major problems in our relationship that I could see, and we just had consensual sex last night. The very last time I spoke to her before all this happened, she was perfectly fine, kissed me goodbye before I went to work, and everything was normal. Then I got a call from my dad towards the end of the day asking me calmly if I'd been hitting my girlfriend. I didn't know what he was talking about, and then she told me. I rushed home and she had gotten all of her stuff and is staying either with her family or a friend of hers. My Facebook account is blowing up and I have no idea what to do. None of what is being said is true, and I don't know if someone is just playing a cruel joke on me. A few people even mentioned that the police were called, but I haven't heard anything as of yet. The last major argument we had was probably in February around Valentine's Day. We were going through some financial trouble, the stress got to us, and we were both getting upset with each other over petty household things. She was my best friend, the person I could rely on to be there for me, and the person I would be there for always, no matter what. We were definitely planning on getting married. It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. Her family had basically accepted me into the family. I was close with both her mum and her dad. I only called them both once each. Neither of them answered my calls. I called my, ex just twice. No answer. She blocked me on every social media platform of hers that I know of. I asked a couple of friends, but they are being distant with me. Just one word answers or ghosting me. What the fuck is happening here? We'd always been upfront and honest with each other, and our communication was stellar. Wow, and there were some relevant comments to this. So someone said, what was your reaction to this? And Opie replied saying, confusion, then panic. My heart started pounding. At first it was difficult to think. I wanted to try and call her to see what the fuck was going on, when I found out she blocked me on everything. I've been walking around with a huge pit in my stomach. Someone asked, how was your family and your friends reacted to this? As in, how did the conversation with your father go? Did he believe you? What about your best male friend? Opie replies saying, my dad calmly asked me if I'd been hitting her. I outright denied it. He said, are you sure? That made me upset. Only a couple of friends reached out. Most are sort of staying out of it. I had two friends say, what the fuck were you thinking, before I tried to explain it to them. Over the past few hours they seemed to warm up, but I don't know. Other friends haven't really been saying anything. Just distant or not responding much at all. I don't really have a best friend, but the one person I would be closest describes as such seems to believe me. Just said, this is really fucked up. Someone asked, do you or your girlfriend have a history of mental illness? Opie replies saying, I don't. As for her, not that I know of. I'm close with her family and know a lot about her childhood. Serious mental illness sounds like a big thing to cover up. Someone asks, what are your theories on why this is happening? Opie replies saying, 1. This is a cruel joke. 2. She just wanted to break up without having a conversation, which would have been fine. No way could I have forced her to have a convo about it. 3. Someone convinced her that this was a good way to cover up other things she wanted to do, like steal credit cards. This was suggested by other Redditors. I don't really believe this. Someone asks, what culture would you identify you and your girlfriend as? Opie replies saying, we are both culturally American. Her family is Hispanic, but have been in the USA for 3 generations now. And honestly, I don't really know what to make of this one. There was a couple of things that were going through my mind as I was reading it. One was that always comes into my mind about sort of the wedding story where the mum cut up the dress, so something mentally going on there. Or maybe, she was just trying to break up with you and had done it in a real bizarre, stupid way. And that's literally it. They're the literal stab in the dark there, because I ain't got a clue what could be happening there. But we're going to move on to those updates. We got an update and a final update to see what happens next. Okay, so this is going to be a weird ass update. I'm sorry if you guys thought this was going to be anything interesting. Oh dear. A friend came forward and told me apparently my dumbass fiance decided to play a prank on me. Oh man. She had the bright idea of leaving the house for a couple of days to set up a surprise birthday party for me, set for this weekend. I don't know what the fuck she was thinking, nor do I even really know the full story yet. She is not really the prank playing type, and I guess thought this would be hilarious or something. It looks like a majority of those friends who were acting distant were in on it. After I started being upfront and honest with showing people my texts with her as the sub suggested, one of them told her that this wasn't cool, and that if she didn't come clean then he would. Well, she didn't come clean and he came forward. I guess that's why nobody was answering their texts. Anyway, I texted her and told her that I knew. Asked her what the fuck she was thinking. She started blowing up my phone, apologizing. She said her prank just went too far and spiraled out of control when it got to social media, and that she didn't know how to come clean when she realized that it crossed a line. She also said that she didn't mean to let it come out that I was abusing her, and that she just wanted to make it seem like she left me, and that the abuse stuff was a rumor started by some other people who weren't in on her joke. I just didn't really respond to her. I left and went to my parents' house before she got back home. My family now thinks she's a fucking moron, so our relationship with them is ruined right before our marriage, so that's great. Our mutual friends are now split in half, with half of them thinking she's an idiot and the other half feeling God knows what about the situation. I'm frankly embarrassed and feel stupid for wasting everyone's time and dragging them into my relationship with my fiancé. I don't really know where to go from here. I don't know if I should call off the wedding or postpone it and try to work out what the hell went through her mind. I'm sorry if this isn't the ending to the story you were all hoping for. I'm having drinks and will be here all night feeling sorry for myself and answering comments for as long as I'm awake with this Jameson. And we're going to move into that final update in a moment to find out what's going on, but a prank, putting your partner through emotional stress like that for a prank, surprise party or not, what goes through your mind to put your partner through something like that? I can't even think about it. I can't step into that person's shoes. It's impossible. Anyway, the update says, so firstly, thanks for all of your input. I read and considered every single reply. First I'll update you, then I'll tie up some loose ends from the comments in the previous post. I want to apologize for the bluntness of this post ahead of time, because despite your comments about me being calm and level-headed, I'm actually quite upset about the entire situation, and I feel like me sitting and thinking about it is only marinating this anger and making it more juicy and flavorful. Update. I spoke to her in person after I posted my update. From her perspective, her original idea was to make it look like she got mad or something, grabbed a few things and left to her friend's house, where she was planning to have the party thrown. Her friend has a really nice house that's perfect for a 20 to 30 person get together. She was with her two friends and made an off-the-cuff remark when her friend said, "What are you going to say when he asks why?" And she said, "I don't know, I'll probably tell them that I feel like he got too serious when we had sex," or something like that. Then her other friend who was with her immediately took it to social media without the other two girls knowing, and then when they checked their phones later on that day, it was already a dumpster fire. I said, great, all that is understandable. Just one question. Why did you then block me and then refuse to answer my calls? Because that seemed pretty fucking intentional to me. She said because she didn't want to throw her idiot friend under the bus and thought it would all go away. What if she just threw the party? And she hadn't realized how far it all went so quickly. I thanked her for telling me, and then I called off the wedding entirely. She cried. I cried. It was a goddamn mess. She asked where we go from here. I told her I don't know. I don't even know if the relationship is over yet, but I know that the engagement is over. and that if I decide to give it another chance, at the bare minimum, we need to build my trust for her from the ground up, if not the entire relationship. And now I have to decide if I want that. Do I want to spend another 4 years being undecided? If I'm being honest with myself, I imagine taking another couple of years before I can trust her again. Do I want to get married and start thinking about having children at 35, 36, close to 40? I told her that I have a lot to think about. I spoke to her dad last night. We shared a case of beers and had a conversation that lasted about 5 hours. My ex hasn't spoken to anyone and basically had been locked up in her old bedroom for now. She's been crying a lot. I do believe that she's genuinely remorseful about all of this, which complicates things. Her dad caught wind of the situation on Facebook but learned what was really going on maybe like an hour later. He'd gotten my calls but hadn't returned them because he called his daughter first. She told him and he just didn't know what to say to her. He told me that she's not truly stupid, but that she has a history of sometimes not thinking about things before she says them, and the impact her offhand remarks can have. He said this is the worst it's ever snowballed, but she's had situations in the past where she says something stupid or insulting and doesn't realize the impact of what she said until hours later, when the other person blows up over it. So that's it. I still have a lot to think about. I know a lot of you guys are telling me that I have no balls for not literally tossing her out into traffic and laughing about it or something weird like that, but you have to understand that I still love her and have loved her for a few years now. Right now, I'm leaning towards moving on, but you're going to have to empathize with me here. As for my reputation, nobody thinks I'm an abuser. It's firmly out there now. Her reputation took a more significant and lasting hit. I haven't lost any friends except for the idiot social media girl, whose reputation also took a severe hit. Nobody called the cops. All the other posts about it have been deleted. Everything is good. There's no real need for me to get a lawyer and sue anybody. My family agrees with a lot of you. They're 2 seconds away from slapping me upside the head for not immediately kicking her to the curb. Just give me some time. I'm not going to make another update post because I've already wasted too much of your time with this bullshit, but maybe I'll just update this post in a few days after I decided what to do. And unfortunately, the user was no longer active on that account, so we can only assume what he's going to do, and I personally think he's going to get back with her, rightly or wrongly, I don't know, it just kind of feels that way to me. But having something like that posted about you online, like you're an abuser or something like that, is absolutely devastating. Those things don't disappear just like that. But what do you guys make of this situation? Absolute wild one there. I can't get what goes through that person's head. But what would you advise to OP? Would you say to maybe stick with her, or would you run? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And this story is from Soon to Wed Throwaway, who says, am I the arsehole for threatening to cut my parents off financially to stop my brother from proposing at my wedding? I, 27 male, start this off by saying my wedding is scheduled for April because my fiancée, 25 female, has always dreamed of a spring wedding, and I really like the idea too. I have an older brother though, 30 male, and last Saturday I was called over to my parents' house to talk about something, but they refused to tell me what until I got there. Then they sat me down with my brother and told me that my brother wants to use my wedding as the perfect day for him to propose to his girlfriend. I was instantly mad and told them absolutely not, but they ganged up on me. I ended up so enraged to the point that I, one man, somehow backed all three of them into a corner. I told them that if they want to do this, then not only will they all be uninvited, but I'll also cut off the financial support I've been given monthly since they paid to have my golden child brother go through college by taking out a second mortgage. I landed a decently high-paying job and have been sending $500 to my parents monthly to help ease their mortgage. And I didn't ask for a stake in the ownership of their house either. It was entirely goodwill, and I can cut it off at any time. I left without speaking anything more to them, but my brother came to my home the next day to yell at me that I ruined his big chance because now our parents are siding with me and they'll evict him if he tries to propose at my wedding. He said I was financially blackmailing our parents and that he just wanted a good chance to propose because he was afraid his girlfriend might leave him soon. I said that was his problem, not mine, because my wedding day is not about him, and if he tries to propose at my wedding, I will have him thrown out. That's not a maybe, but a definite, and I doubt his girlfriend would appreciate her proposal followed up with being tossed out by a bouncer. He yelled a few choice words at me, then went crying to our only surviving grandparent, our maternal grandmother, and she called to try and ream me over the phone. No surprise my brother heavily embellished the version of the story he told her, but she still sided with him after I gave the real story. She tried to hold her ground, but the verbal backlash I ended up giving her left her crying. That got back to my parents, who are now pissed at me for taking things this far. But I told them I only went that far because I had to when they were all trying to get me to let my brother use my wedding as a springboard for a proposal. They ended up agreeing with me, but still stated they feel like I'm crass. And my brother showed up at my home again to scream at me that I'm an arsehole, and I hope I'm happy with myself for not allowing him the opportunity. I thought I was entirely in the right at first, but maybe I really did take it too far with my brother. So I thought I'd come here to ask for an impartial ruling. Am I the arsehole for everything I did and said to my brother and everyone else? Edit. My fiancée knows what my brother tried to do and she's very angry about it. She's almost ready to have him uninvited if he pursues this any further. Also, I won't justify making my grandmother cry. Normally, I have a very mild temper. But when it comes to certain people like my brother, parents and grandmother, I can easily get short with them because of all the past favoritism. My grandmother especially. She's always sided with my brother and believed his lies no matter what he did. She's the biggest reason my parents favored my brother too. She kept trying to convince me over the phone to let my brother propose at my wedding that I ended up losing it on her. And for those wondering why I've been sending my parents money, well, about a year ago, they were on the verge of losing their house because of extra debt they took on paying for my brother's college 10 years ago. They were too prideful to ask me for help, but I didn't want them to end up losing their home. I personally don't want the house in the future, but I want my parents to be able to keep their home. We have a plan for me to continue payments till I'm 30, and I've sent them to a financial advisor to help them get things settled. But my lazy brother isn't helping. He only pays $300 a month for rent and doesn't contribute to utilities. Years ago, he also dropped out of the college my parents paid for and they couldn't get the lost tuition money back, so they are finally starting to get angry with him themselves. Edit 2. Yes, my brother dropped out of college, but a few years later he got an online college degree and barely passed to get it. I have no issue with online college, however, after what my parents spent on him, it feels like a stick to the eye that he did that. But the online college degree got him a better job. He's never really changed though. As soon as he got that degree, he wanted nothing but praise for months. My brother has no bad habits like gambling, high spending or drug addiction. He's just a jerk and always has been. You know, we're going to start with the initial, your brother thinking it's okay to propose at your wedding. You know, it's one thing to ask if he can propose that. I couldn't even do that myself. I couldn't go up to someone, you know, my brother's getting married. I couldn't go say to him, can I propose at your wedding? I'd be embarrassed to do that, to be quite honest. No offense to anyone that's done that, but I think it would personally embarrass me thinking about it. I know some families have like traditions of doing this or whatever, but in this particular case, absolutely not. He's been told no, and then the parents getting upset, he's getting upset over it. There's clear favoritism going on. But another thing that really peed me off while I was reading this story is, you know, you're paying towards your parents' mortgage. Brother's only paying $300 in rent, so you're basically paying for your brother to be there. That's the way that it would really piss me off, to be quite honest. But just some other person says not the arsehole, your brother is the arsehole. Your brother is unwilling to accept no for an answer and has been trying to use your loved ones to manipulate you into getting the answers he wants. Wiggle Pie says not the arsehole. They should respect your decision, end of story, and yet they doubled down and made things worse. If I were you, and because I'm petty, the next time he tries to bring this up again and argues about it, I would threaten to go over his head and warn his girlfriend about the wedding proposal of his. Best of luck and congrats on the spring wedding. Oh yeah, brother trying to propose because he's worried that his girlfriend is going to break up with him. Doesn't sound like a great way to start, you know, an engagement, but Run Raven Girl says not the arsehole. I don't care if you made your grandma cry. I'm tired of people thinking they can be rude and disrespectful of others because they're older or family. She decided to berate you, expecting you'd cave, and instead, she got what she gave. Fuck around and find out. Tell the girlfriend, disinvite them both, and have a lovely day at your wedding. Fuzzy Purple Frog says not the asshole, but if I were you, I'd uninvite your brother because I promise you he's going to do it anyway. Jade says not the asshole, you did everything right by standing your ground. Kudos to you and congrats to your wife for finding someone who will no doubt be an amazing partner and ally. Your brother, on the other hand, lol, is trying to propose for all the wrong reasons. It doesn't matter about all the shit you've endured watching your family prop up their golden child. He kinda turned out to be a loser, but they'll never see it. It doesn't matter though, because you, sir, have won. But now let's move on to the update to find out what happened next. So we have an update and a final update to this story. So first update says, I ended up speaking with my brother again and threatened to tell his girlfriend if he was still intending to propose at my wedding without permission. He took it poorly and called me an awful person. So I pointed out that my wedding isn't about him. Our parents were there for this and they backed me up. I think my brother did a double take when they did that. My dad pointed out that he'd raised my brother wrong and that was on him. So from now on, my brother was to show them real respect and they wanted to get an official lease drawn up for him to pay proper rent and utilities. He was only paying them $300 a month without contributing to any utilities or food. And if he doesn't want to pay, he can move out and they'll rent his room to someone else. My brother turned to our mum for help, but she just agreed with dad. He looked like he was having a conniption and then left the house. He came back a couple hours later, but spoke to no one and locked himself in his room. 2 days later, my brother announced he was moving in with grandma because she invited him, and our parents basically told him that if he wants to live with her, then go ahead. My brother responded to this by saying we all hate him for just wanting to propose to his girlfriend. My parents pointed out that it's not that he wanted to propose, but where he wanted to do it, and he'd get no support for it. He's refusing to talk to our parents now. My grandmother did try to call me again, but it ended up with me telling her that my brother will not be allowed to propose at my wedding, plain and simple, so he can get over it, or not. And the same goes for her. I ended up calling her out on her favoritism towards my brother since we were kids, which she tried to deny at first, but couldn't keep doing so because of how much I pointed out. She ended up crying again while I told her that if she keeps trying to insist on this, then she won't be coming to my wedding. She begged me not to rescind her invite, but still, she doesn't understand why I couldn't let my brother have his way before ending the call. My fiancé is 100% on my side and fully ready to remove my brother and grandmother from the wedding. My grandmother hasn't called again, and she's not talking to my parents either. My guess is my brother went crying to her again to tell her mummy and daddy weren't enabling him anymore, so she offered him to move in with her. But there's literally nothing she can do to sway me, and I think my last conversation with her made her realize that. I didn't wish to tell my brother's girlfriend, but she called me up on Saturday about my Reddit post. She saw it read in an online video, and then realized it might be me with the way I described my brother and grandmother. So yeah, now she knows. She ended up tearing my brother a new arsehole, and he still tried to justify himself to her. That's when she told him they were through and cut all contact with him. My brother of course blamed me, even though his girlfriend said that she's been ready to leave him for a while now, and if he'd tried to propose no matter where, she'd have told him no. So that's it. My brother showed up at my place one more time to have a fit and said he is boycotting my wedding. He actually thought he had leverage that he and grandma wouldn't go. I said I wouldn't miss him and that he's in his 30s now and needs to grow up. Our parents have cut the umbilical and are no longer supporting him, and they're already repainting his room to rent it to someone else. And they plan on renting out my old bedroom as well because they need the money after the financial hole he left them in after dropping out of college, just to mooch off them for a while and then get a degree with online college later, and then barely paying any rent while also making them pay for his food and utilities despite having a good paying job. They spent the world on him and he wasn't the least bit grateful. That made my brother just shut down and leave, and since then we've not heard a peep out of him. That's everything that's happened from my original post up until now. Edit. Yes, I have very good security hired for the wedding and they'll toss my brother out like bouncers in a heartbeat. And now we're going to move straight on to that final update. Well, my brother and grandma are officially uninvited from my upcoming wedding. My grandma called me again to berate me even more for refusing to let my brother propose. Apparently, he's beside himself with grief over his ex. Yeah, so beside himself with grief that he's already on Tinder looking for a date, or so his social media says, which I pointed out to grandma. She claimed that was just his way of coping. I said I didn't care. He's no longer invited to my wedding because I can't trust that he won't do something crazy if he's there. Then she gave me her classic line of, "I don't understand why." That's what she always says when I won't do something for my brother after he'd screwed me over. For example, I once gave my brother a loan back when he was still doing online college. He didn't want to repay it despite promising he would. Even after getting a good job, he hemmed and hawed about it when I wanted him to pay me back. He had the money, he just didn't want to give it up. So I said I was never going to loan him money again, and Grandma gave her a line of not understanding why. Even when I told her it was because I knew my brother would never want to repay me, so he's not going to get another penny. Her response was to say she still doesn't understand. So just hearing her say that about the issue of my brother being banned from my wedding made me lose it. I yelled at her that she does understand. She just acts like she doesn't because she doesn't want to. She's always been on my brother's side no matter what he did, and because of that she's no longer invited to my wedding either. And I don't care if she cries because I'm just plain done with her. She made her bed with the side she chose. Now she can live with it. Of course, she exploded in tears, crying like a sad whale, and called me a bad grandson. I said she was a bad grandma for thinking I'm the bad grandson when she always believed my brother's lies and played favourites. Everyone else knew it too, and I'm sick of her pretending everything was rosy when she used to beat my ass and then tell me I'd be a bad boy if I told my parents she'd spank me. I then told her not to call me again unless it was to admit the truth and give me a genuine apology, and then I ended the call. It went right back to radio silent from her. I also preemptively told my parents about what happened, and their response was they don't care I yelled at her anymore, because she's never going to stop siding with my brother no matter what. My parents are actually doing so much better since my brother moved out. They've got 2 rooms ready to rent out and on the market waiting for a tenant. My dad is also working on clearing out the attic to make another room up there for someone to rent. They're basically turning as many rooms in their house as they can into livable space. They're going to need that rent money to help pay off their debts, and they're still thanking me a lot for helping them with the money I've been sending them monthly. My parents sat me down a while ago and apologised heavily for everything that went on from my childhood till now. They said they can offer no good excuse as to why my brother was the favourite when they shouldn't have been playing favourites at all, and that what they did was completely unacceptable, and the fact that I was still willing to help them out, even after everything they'd done, made them realise how horrible they were as parents, and from now on they'll do their best to be better people. They've basically stopped caring about what my brother and grandma think too. They haven't been talking to them either. I've heard nothing from my brother's ex. She wants nothing more to do with my family, and I don't blame her. My fiancée is super happy about me standing my ground because she wanted my brother and grandmother out much sooner. Then she admitted something to me I never knew. Apparently the few times she was alone with my grandma, she was told all sorts of lies about me that my fiancé never once believed. She couldn't recall much, but basically grandma said a number of things that I remember my brother did that were pinned on me. But the gist of it is that my grandma was trying to tell my fiancé that I was the bad egg as a child, and that she better watch me closely in case she decided not to marry me. So yeah, grandma was trying to poison the well with more lies. One story my fiancé remembered my grandma talking about was one I knew right away. It was the story about the broken lamp. My grandma used to have a beautiful handcrafted stained glass lamp. My brother threw a football in the house straight at it and the lamp fell and broke. It was old and frail, so it basically shattered. My brother said that I was throwing the football in the house and that he tried to stop me. But it was basically the other way around. Grandma refused to believe me and spanked me bare bottom with a wooden spoon. My grandma knew my brother was lying and even told my parents so. My brother was grounded and I was told I didn't have to visit grandma anymore if I didn't want to. And after my grandpa passed away, I stopped going. The fact that old hag was still talking about that stuff to people like my fiancé when I'm not around infuriates me. So I'm beyond glad that I've cut the tumours that are my brother and grandmother out of my life. I don't need them anymore. And these next 2 updates are the new updates. Let's get into them. So update. Well, my brother came pounding on my front door again a few days ago. And this time he was drunk. He drunkenly told me he found out my Reddit post because he tried to get back together with his ex, and she told him how she found out what he was planning. So his dumbass thought it'd be a good idea to get wasted and then confront me. He even vomited on my porch step and then did something I didn't see coming. He curled up on the ground crying. I figured he was going to attack me or something because he was acting so deranged. But instead, he just got in at a sort of fetal position and cried in the grass while blaming me for his problems, in between swigs from the bottle he was carrying. From what I could get out of him, he recently went to his ex and begged her to take him back, but she told him he was a man-child and she'd never want to marry him, and then explained how she knew he was planning on proposing. He went home and searched online till he found my Reddit posts and then read them. He went through a lot of the comments on my prior posts, and when he realized next to nobody saw things from his point of view, he broke his computer monitor and started pounding a bottle of vodka while walking over to my home, since I only live a couple of miles from my grandma's house. He was sitting on the ground, he was drunkenly cussing at me and saying it's my fault that everyone but grandma hates him now. I had no sympathy and told him he did all that himself. Sure, I aired our dirty laundry online by telling everyone, but he was still the entitled jerk who never really grew up and goes crying to granny like a spoiled brat when he doesn't get his way. Time to grow up and man up. He called me a few more things that I could barely understand and then pretty much stopped talking just to sit there and keep drinking and crying. I ended up taking away what was left of his bottle of vodka and said that maybe when he's sober he can see some common sense. And I called for a taxi to take him home. I wasn't about to drive to grandma's house because I don't want to see or be anywhere near her. My brother didn't even thank me for calling and paying for the taxi, just flopped himself into the back seat and told the driver to get going. I got a call the next day from the taxi service stating my brother had vomited multiple times all over the back seat in the short time he was in the cab, and it took $200 to thoroughly clean it because it was everywhere. I apologized and mailed them a check for their trouble. It's been a few days since that happened, but the crap didn't end there, so I'll be making another post very soon. Next update says, I knew it. I just knew it, and some of you called it. My grandma couldn't leave well enough alone. She and my brother were already both uninvited from my upcoming wedding and borderline ghosted, but now she's gone and made a huge scene about it. She took my brother over to my parents' house to show them my Reddit posts. Thing is, my parents already know about and have read them because I admitted it to them after my brother drunkenly came to my home to yell at me. And my parents no longer care because the situation opened their eyes some time ago. I wasn't there to see it, but my grandma laid it on thick to my parents about how she has been thoroughly humiliated by me, and she didn't understand why I'd do this over something so trivial as my brother proposing at my upcoming wedding. Well, this next part I never expected. My mum, ever the passive doormat to her mother for as long as I can remember, finally lost it on grandma about how she's a narcissist and how her influence made her, and my dad seemed like ones too. And they were idiots to let that happen. Then they told grandma and my brother that the whole wanting to propose at my wedding thing was a completely stupid and selfish idea, and then reiterated reasons I've stated as to why, with it likely being my brother wanting to put his ex on the spot in front of the whole family. Then my parents told them both to get out. My brother especially they admonished because he used them as a veritable ATM for years and barely contributed financially after landing a good job. And then me, the son they'd regretfully ignored, was someone they were far more proud of because I helped them start to undo the damage they'd done to themselves. And thus far, I've asked for nothing in return. Grandma, I'm told, left in hysterics, and my brother was silent most of the time. The next part is from my own experience as grandma called me again to yell at me. I let her have her rant while my fiancé and I just let the phone sit on the coffee table while on speaker mode. After a while, grandma realized I wasn't saying anything back and yelled at me to speak to her. So I said something one of the commenters I've had here pointed out in a prior post, that she's a coward who thinks she's in charge, but she's not and never will be. She can't boss me around, she has nothing to leverage over me, and she always acts like she doesn't understand my reasoning when I know she does. But she doesn't ever care to admit it. Then I called her out on the lie she spewed about me to my fiancé, which grandma immediately denied. But then my fiancé spoke up and said she had told me everything grandma had said to her, then asked why she would do that. Did she not want me to be married and be happy or something? And that's when it came out. Grandma yelled that she was pissed I am getting married before my brother. She had wanted to see him married first because he's older and her favourite grandson, and she believed the least I could have done was let my brother try to save his relationship by proposing at my wedding. I said that wasn't trying to save a relationship, that was trying to trap that poor woman in one by hoping she wouldn't say no in front of a crowd. But I've already spoken to my brother's ex before she cut contact with all of us, and I know for certain she'd have said no to him anyway. And she'd been ready to break up with him for months. I doubt the relationship would have even lasted long enough to make it to my wedding. Then I said I knew she was going to call me selfish, so I pointed out all the things that make her selfish and me not. I'm helping out my parents financially when I didn't have to. I didn't ask for money from anyone when I went to college. I actually worked hard at my relationship with my significant other and didn't scheme or try to find a way to take control of it. While my grandma would rather spew out any reason she can think of to make my brother the golden boy who can do no wrong. She lied about me just to try and ruin my relationship in her hopes my brother would marry first, and she openly admitted to having a favourite grandson. Now that's selfish. Then I said that it turned out my brother had been in love with my fiancée or something. I bet she would have demanded I give her to my brother as well, because that's the kind of selfish narcissist she is. Then all I could hear on the line was Grandma loudly sobbing and my brother trying to console her. He didn't say anything to me, and then the phone hung up, either by him or her. I don't know. But I think it's fair to say I really verbally tore Grandma apart this time, much more so than I ever had before. And yes, this time I finally blocked her number, and my brother's too. I find the whole dynamic with the parents interesting, the way that, that they've turned around the situation and they've sort of opened their eyes to the behavior that's going on. And it all seems to be unraveling really, really quickly. I'm not sure if we're going to get any further updates on this one as well. I will keep an eye on it, and I'll really post it again if there's some significant updates. But what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for spending your time with me today, getting involved in the stories. As always, your love, time and support always means the world, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today